Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, or just a football junkie looking for your next fix of breaking NFL speculation, then you're in exactly the right place. Today's story is one that's starting to catch fire around the league, and believe me when I say, this could be one of the most intriguing developments of the entire draft season. Because right now, deep in the heart of Lions draft strategy meetings, a name is being mentioned more and more. And no, it's not another flashy wide receiver or edge rusher. We're talking about a player who might not have been on the casual fan's radar a few weeks ago, but whose tape, metrics, and disruptive potential are making Detroit's front office take a very close look. That name? TJ Sanders, defensive tackle from South Carolina. Now, before we dive into why this potential move could change everything for Detroit's defensive front, let's take a moment to appreciate just how suddenly Sanders has skyrocketed in relevance. He wasn't a top 10 buzz guy at the start of the college football season. He wasn't getting the same national hype as a James Pierce Jr. or a Michael Williams. But ask any scout who's watched the film, and especially those tuned into what the Lions are building on defense, and they'll tell you, this kid could be exactly what Detroit is missing. Here's what we know so far. Multiple league insiders have begun floating Sanders as a legitimate first-round option for the Lions at pick 28. And here's where it gets really interesting. Some insiders believe talks may already be underway behind the scenes. That's right. Could TJ Sanders already be engaged in preliminary discussions with the Detroit Lions? Could Brad Holmes be preparing to strike earlier than expected to make sure Sanders doesn't slip away? While no official meetings or agreements have been confirmed, some whispers around the league suggest there's more than just casual interest developing between Detroit and the former Gamecock. But let's pause. Why him? Why now? What makes Sanders a dark horse candidate who suddenly seems to be moving into the Lions' crosshairs? Let's talk numbers. In 2024, Sanders posted an 81.9 pass rush grade according to Pro Football Focus, a number that instantly jumps out for an interior lineman. That kind of productivity doesn't happen by accident. He was routinely blowing up plays in the backfield, using a deadly combination of quickness off the snap and surprisingly polished hand technique to shed blockers and disrupt quarterbacks. He's not a raw project. He's a ready-to-contribute disruptor. And Detroit needs that. Pair that with his 6 feet 5 inches, 290-pound frame and elite athleticism, and suddenly the picture starts to make sense. Could he be the missing piece between Alim McNeill and DJ Reader? Could he give the Lions the final rotational weapon to push their pass rush unit into elite territory? Some fans are already buzzing on social media, asking the question, is Sanders the sleeper pick of the draft? And more importantly, are the Lions the team smart enough to grab him before someone else does? Because here's what we know about Brad Holmes. He doesn't play it safe. He doesn't chase the obvious. He builds with purpose. And if Holmes and Dan Campbell believe that Sanders can develop into a 3-down interior force, not just a pass-rushing specialist, then the idea of selecting him at 28 is not just realistic. It might be strategic brilliance. Let's not forget, the Lions made waves last offseason by signing DJ Reader in free agency, creating a powerful 1-2 punch with Alim McNeill. But Reader's long-term status is still uncertain, and McNeill, while an ascending star, can't do it all alone. Adding Sanders could be the kind of move that sets up the defensive line for years. It's not about just next season. It's about building a legacy. Now here's where things get speculative, but no less compelling. Some league executives off the record have noted that Sanders has already met with several teams picking late in the first round, and Detroit is believed to be among them. Could this be more than just a routine visit? Could it be the early stages of a real draft day plan? And here's something else to think about. TJ Sanders is represented by an agency that has had a very smooth history working with the Lions front office. That kind of behind-the-scenes relationship often helps facilitate faster, more productive negotiations when the time comes. If Detroit wants Sanders, and the interest is mutual, this could be one of the cleanest draft day deals we've seen from Brad Holmes in years. There's also growing belief that Detroit's coaching staff, especially defensive line coach John Scott Jr., has already begun informal evaluations of how Sanders would fit into their scheme. Some reports even suggest that Scott, who has a background coaching in the SEC, had pre-existing familiarity with Sanders' college film, and is a vocal supporter of the player. If true, this would only further validate the growing speculation. And let's not underestimate the locker room factor. TJ Sanders has a reputation as a high-character guy, team-first mentality, film room junkie, leader by example. These are the intangibles that Dan Campbell openly prioritizes. This isn't just about stats and highlights. It's about culture. And few prospects in this class check as many boxes on and off the field as Sanders. Analysts around the league have also started reevaluating their mock drafts. In the last week alone, at least 3 national draft experts have moved Sanders up into the late first round, and one even linked him directly to the Lions. That's not coincidence. That's smoke. And where there's smoke, you know what comes next. But what happens if the Lions do take him? Well, the immediate impact would be felt in the trenches. Detroit's run defense, which was already strong in 2023, could become top 5 elite. But more than that, the interior pass rush would open up new lanes for Aiden Hutchinson and whoever else is rushing off the edge. Offenses would no longer be able to double team outside, because now you've got trouble coming straight up the middle. It's a domino effect. And it starts with a name that no one was talking about a month ago, but who could soon be the surprise centerpiece of Detroit's draft. Now picture this. The Lions face a fourth quarter 3-6 against a top NFC opponent. The crowd is roaring at Ford Field. Hutchinson draws the double team off the edge. Reeder and McNeil clog the interior. But it's Sanders, exploding through the gap, who gets to the quarterback and ends the drive. That's not just a fantasy. That's a glimpse at a very real, very possible future for Detroit's defense. And if Brad Holmes has already started working on bringing Sanders in quietly, patiently, strategically, then fans should be excited. Because this isn't just about filling a need. This is about shaping the identity of a defense that's ready to dominate. So what do you think, Lions fans? Would TJ Sanders be the perfect fit for Dan Campbell's defense? Or do you think Detroit should look elsewhere with the 28th pick? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a single update. Draft night is coming, and something tells me the Lions are about to shock the world.